Around 2009, there were reforms in the sector, of course, and we had changes whereby the authorities came into being. And out of that, KeNHA was formed, KeNHA. And I was chosen to go to KeNHA. We were amongst the first engineers because the first unit that moved to KeNHA was the Northern Corridor. So they were the ones who we went there and we started staying at Blue Shield. I went there and I was even given the rank of a senior engineer. And it is also at that time that I also married when we transitioned from KeNHA ministry to KeNHA. And it is there that I was given an assignment I became the first resident engineer of the access road to the Kisumu International Airport. It was a greenfield project. The new Kisumu International Airport had just been done, and there was no access road, so I was the resident engineer. That was my first project as a resident engineer, plus all those toll booths. So I had to juggle between family and doing that. I remember when I got my firstborn daughter, I had to shift with my wife to stay in Kisumu. She was on maternity leave, and we had to live there for some time. Those are some of the challenges that engineers also face. After I left the project, the Kisumu Airport Access, I was promoted to be to go to Lower Eastern as an acting regional manager at a very young age. And that time when I went to Lower Eastern encompasses Machakos, Kitui, Makueni. So I started my managerial duties there. That was around 2010, 2012. It was in the year 2012 is when I went to Machakos as a regional manager, having left Kisumu. And I started, that's where I now started encountering other aspects that are not engineering related, like dealing with politicians. I had to learn quick soft skills, hone them very well. How do you handle cases that involve the public? And one thing I can say when I was in Lower Eastern is that I recall one case. It was on Machakos Katumani Road, where a tree fell on the road. Now, this is what taught me about engineering and other soft skills and the cultural aspects. When the tree fell, it blocked the road, and no one would dare come and remove that tree. And even at that time, we didn't have contractors on that road. So the tree had to be removed. And then I heard that tree was sacred. So no one will dare come and remove that. So members of the public had to start using a diversion there, and the tree was just there. It had birds that had fallen and whatnot. Later I was told that tree was sacred and it could not just be removed anyhow. And we had to find some way for it to be done. So long story short, we found a way for the tree to be removed, but it had taught me a lesson that we needed to have a standby contractor who could be able to, in case of such incidences, to come and just remove the tree. Also, you need to be cognizant of the cultural practices of the people, locality where you are working. Also, further to that, there was an incident where members of the public would clamor for speed humps. And on a road where maybe you do not have an opportunity to do them, but the pressure is there, you need to follow the due process. So out of this, I was able to write a recommendation to the then Director General that we develop what we call framework contracting, whereby in a region comes up with a standby contractors who can be called on a need basis to address some emergencies, not only such small emergencies, but in case of washouts, and whatnot. And good enough, it was adopted and it is still being implemented in the authority. It has even been enhanced. And then also I was able to understand the importance of the issues of culture and the people. Before I mention that issue of the young engineers, maybe after I left Lower Eastern, I went to North Rift. No, South Rift, Nakuru region. And there are also their own experiences here and there. And after now, South Rift, I was able to come to head office to be able to deal with the government-funded project GOK, to be head of construction. That was in 2017. And at that time is when projects like Mau Mau were coming on board and many of the GOK-funded projects. And when I just came there, we used to receive so many applications of young engineers who would want an opportunity in some of the projects. But so we could, yes, accord them opportunities, attachment, internship. However, in more often times, some projects didn't have the provisions because, sending somebody, let's say, to a project, there's need for upkeep. There has to be some allowance or some stipend. But if it is not clearly indicated in the document, it's very difficult and for the resident engineers to be able to assist. So we were willing to assist them, but how do you take somebody, for example, to Kitui on a project and you are not even maybe catering for their expenses? So it is out of that when we were formulating the Mau Mau projects and the rest, we were able to put in some provisions for training, for internship, attachments. And out of that, we were able to onboard so many of the young engineers. And at that time, there was a big number that had just come out from the university. And after some time, we saw that for it to have value, it had to be structured. By structuring it, you ensure that in all the projects, there is a training program, there is a person in charge of training, there is reporting, there is constant meeting of the trainees. We even formed a WhatsApp group that is in existence up to date that has around 560 members. And so you see these young engineers, if they are not guided and handheld, they can go to site and you could not be able to account for what they have been able to do. So we came up with that accountability mechanism and we informed them that we will not write them letters of recommendation unless we have also evaluated them to be able to get to know that they have been able to grasp the basics of the engineering in all aspects that are required. So it is out of that, and I'd like to take this opportunity to just appreciate all those engineers who offered themselves on a pro bono basis to help these young engineers. They went out of their way. We were doing each project because there were designs and design reviews. We could come and do an online presentation for each project, and we could take them through the various aspects, if it's pavement, traffic, geometrics, and we could go through it on an online for each of those projects, and each graduate engineer could join irrespective of which project they were in, and they could be able now to also ask questions. And also over time, we even now started doing evaluations of each of them, some form of a review on how to just be able to grasp how they have been able to get. And out of that, I'm happy that most of the engineers who have gone through that program seamlessly been able to go to the EPK interviews, and they have been able to transition to Ps. And for a record number, there's been a record number. I always receive on my WhatsApp people who have registered appreciating the effort that we are putting, which really makes me proud of what we have been able to achieve. And then the authority also for that support. Even at one time, the IEK saw it fit to award KeNHA as the body that has been able to transition many engineers, and also they also awarded me for spearheading that process as a mentor of the year some year back. So we appreciate all those who are part of that journey. And this is just the beginning. Others should also emulate. This is just in a small space in the road sector. Engineers have the power and the liberty. Where there is a will, there is a way. To be able to do the same and replicate even in water sector, power sector, all those, they can be able to come up with mechanisms. I believe they are doing that. If not, they can come, we can be able to share some insights on how they can also begin such a program so that we develop a pool of engineers who are very competent and well-grounded. And also engineers, even if they, over time, they don't get a job, when they go to other countries, they are just plug and play, not to again to start the training aspect. Also, I would like to urge that it will be important to link the academia and the industry so that the academia can also know the market needs, so that we train the engineers. By the time they come, very little effort is required to be able to transition them. But this is something that perhaps needs a discussion and further runs. Yeah, the engineer's role cannot be gainsaid. The engineer, the first engineer is God, if I can say, because to come up with the world with its complexity. And by the way, I like just to tell the engineers and also the young engineers that, and everybody, that generally, for somebody first to have been born, it is a very big privilege. In fact, science has shown that the probability of one being born is 1 in 400 trillion. And they are, statistically, you can see it's nearly impossible. So there are many factors that come into play. So by the time you are being born, you're already a champion. So there's no need of coming on earth and being there as if you are not supposed to be there, feeling sorry for yourself. And then God has now, besides being a champion at birth, has even imbued you with more to be an engineer, whereby you can you can critically think, you can analyze, you have a mathematical mind. And I've been able to see the performance of mathematics in this country. It is very abysmal. But having been able to do engineering, it means one is very good in me. So you are amongst the 0.0% of people who can make things happen. So, out of all that realization, engineers, we should do things just the way Elon Musk is doing stuff that look impossible. In fact, Elon Musk was saying that he has so many ideas, it's only the implementation aspect that is difficult. So you can imagine, like we in Kenya, we being a country that is still developing with a myriad of challenges which should be converted into opportunities. So engineers, it is high time we have a paradigm shift we stop feeling sorry about ourselves, feeling woye about ourselves, having a pity party, pitying ourselves. Whereas we are even in a society whereby we are in the upper quartile in terms of, if you take any profession and lump them in a room, engineers, you are in the upper quartile. So what is it that is making us as engineers not to be able to arise and shine, not to be able to provide the way forward, not to be able to shepherd the other people in the society, using our God-given mind to take us to another level. So one thing I'm sure of, nothing is going to change unless the engineer of Kenya arises and shines. The change that we are always looking for, we are on the WhatsApp, we are on social media. The change is the person. If you are an engineer, you are the one that the world is waiting. Kenya is waiting for your manifestation. And when the time goes to meet your maker, you will be judged accordingly, because of omission and commission, because you have been given 10 talents, but you are using only 1 talent, or you have hidden your talent under the mattress, lamenting incessantly. It will not help. It is time you can make a big difference, change wherever that you are, beginning now. Yeah.
Any help to keep the young engineers?
Young engineers, what I'd like to tell them is that as much as the world is changing, there are some basic human fundamentals that will not change, like human nature. Human nature is that there are some things that take time, and it's a process. Sometimes you live too fast, you die too fast. So like us, based on my journey, what I can say is that maybe you want to go to, life is not linear always. There has to be some meandering. Some will encounter some valleys, some oxbow lakes in the journey of life, whereby you will have to adjust accordingly and adapt. So it's adaptation, and there's time, it's a process. So there are sometimes you might want, when you see Fukwo today, you might think I just came like this, I became the way I am today. I've been to so many places before now I arrived at my destiny. So I believe that as long as you have the desire and you are focused, ultimately, and you believe in God, because also God plays a very key role, because He knows the destiny of it. He can guide you to your destiny, but you also play a certain role. You will be able to attain it, but it requires some dose of patience. And also, not that I'm advocating that since we lived that kind of life, that you also live it that way, but still some fundamental life principles like respect, patience, some form of suffering, a little bit here, having resilience. And I'll take this opportunity to urge the young people to go and look for a book called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. This was a survivor of the Holocaust who was in those camps, concentration camps, that had very deplorable conditions, but he had the hope that one day he will get out and be able. And the situation that we are in currently cannot be comparable to the situation that such people underwent. For example, even now we can see there is a serious, intense shelling and fighting in DRC, Goma. What will those people say? So, from today, just look at life on the positive plane, and you'll find that, to a large extent, this is, I don't know, it happens that if you shift from negativity to positivity, that's why I say as a man think it's so easy, you find that positive things start happening. That is according to me, but you can also try. And it has worked for me. I'm always positive despite the situations. And also, biblically, it said everything give thanks. So, thank God, first of all, you are born, you are a champion, you have been able to you are healthy, you can see. Some people don't see. You can walk, you can breathe. Some people are sick. So you can even be in a worse situation. So just say, yes, the situation is not right currently. However, I'm alive. What can I do with my life? And then also, don't compare yourself with other people. You'll get a headache, because there will always be better people than you. Run your path. Ask God to guide you. He will guide you. He will take you to what you want to be. And whatever you think you will become,